I'm saying everything's real. Father, he gave his life for us, man, and we got to step it up. Because, yeah, we still coming together with the Lord. We got to get things more important so we can show them fruit to the world. We got to network and make this here seen and heard everywhere. So we can show them fruit the real out loud to God, not just with the talk. Because actions speak louder than words. All that you say out your mouth, it don't mean nothing. You don't back it up with your actions. You know? Everything is real. We celebrate our Lord's birthday. Real. Make that understanding sing so we can show and prove his word is born. We can make what knowledge manifested on the physical plane like he made it manifested to us. Word is born. There's no mystery in God. And the world is sitting up waiting for us to come to their what aid. Like Allah came to our aid. Allah didn't come to save the world. He came to save his son. And through his son the world should be saved. His son of Allah. Time for us to get the same word.
You know, when you're a child, you really don't see things properly. When you're young, you really have a perspective that's a little different. When I first was blessed to hear, to see, and to actually have a conscious perception of the Father, I didn't see him for who everybody told me he was. I see him for who I saw him. Now, a lot of brothers in my neighborhood in 129th Street, they was already conscious brothers before the Father started teaching. They was conscious and they was doing things in a conscious way, started to change the perspective of black people who were calling themselves Negroes, colored people. And these were the brothers who I have respect for, because I recognize that when you start to do things differently, you want to bring about a change. So I watched the change as a child. 13 for me in 64 was a child's 13, not the 13 of the day. So I was a child and I watched my big brother start to change the world when I was 12 in 63. When they started to take on another state of consciousness, and I observed and I listened. My first real experience with what Allah, the Father, was revealing was with a brother named Sharif. Now Sharif had 4 big brothers. When I say big brothers, I mean Sharif was about 5'5", 5'6", and all his brothers was 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". And the first time I really got the power of the truth that the Father was giving to us was Sharif was in his house, and I used to hang out with his little brother, who was a big dude too. Now Sharif was 5'6", might be 140 pounds. All his brothers doing some change. And he went up in his house, and it was pig being cooked in his house. And I was in his house when that pig was being cooked. And he went up in his house amongst his big brothers. And he started talking and teaching and throwing shit away. Now these are big hungry dudes. They are really big dudes and they was hungry. So I knew that for him to have the heart and the courage to teach, for them not to eat pig, and that the black man is God, that whatever the Father gave made him the most courageous person I had ever seen. Because when you take food from hungry people, you better have the courage. And his brothers were saying, we will tear your little Allah-saved self out the brain if you mess with some big people. And I was like, Sharif, and brothers didn't have the long drawn-out name back then. It was Sharif, it was Amin, it was Amir, it was brothers who had simply changed their way of looking at themselves. When I seen Sharif do that, his name was Walter Johnson. No, his name was, Nathaniel Johnson. But his brothers, I mean, these were big dudes, they was football players. And I'm looking at him saying, you gotta have a lot of heart to do this. And you gotta really know what you're doing, because your brothers will throw you out the window from the 4th floor for taking food out of the South Bay Island. So when I acknowledged that, that really made a strong in my psyche, in my, in my mind, that this truth that was being revealed had a lot more to it than I even could barely understand. So Sharif was my first intimate experience. Because most of the teaching that was done back then was done in somebody's house, or the schoolyard when you was playing ball, or the backyard, or the rooftop. It wasn't done at Parliament or not, or formal settings. So you got information when you went to somebody's house, and their brother or their sister had knowledge. So after I observed that, I said, yo, this is some powerful information. I really need to focus on getting this information. So once I started to focus on getting that information, as God said, it was trial and error. For me, it was trial and error. Because some brothers wasn't right exactly, some brothers was truly about it. So in the science of trial and error, I was able to watch and observe some of the trials and errors of my immediate peers, and some of the errors they made, I didn't follow. Some of the errors they made, I did follow. But I was able to learn without experiencing all the hell, because they took some of the weight from me. And a lot of times when I was making an error, or I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to do, they would pull me up and say, yo, you go ahead with that. And I was like, well, y'all doing this? No, you go ahead with that. So they kind of protected us. 1964 to me, and the father's equality, or really the equality of this culture, was so profound that you can't wrap your mind around it if you didn't really have that experience of seeing all of the things happen at one time. Because you had Malcolm, you had the Black Panthers, you had all the liberating forces of consciousness was taking place. And if you didn't pay attention, then you didn't get it. And today is truth was square. One thing I realized about laws, the prescribed laws, is nobody wants to violate the law, because when you violate the law, there's a penalty. And some penalties are more severe than others. So brothers who got this knowledge back then, they didn't violate the law as easily as people do today. Because the penalties was some severe, Allah save yourself, whoopings that you could get. And there was a lot of people willing to give it to you. So again, like I said, I got this knowledge, like I said, with a child's heart. And because I got it with a child's heart, I wasn't an adult thinking I'm grown and I know this and I know that. I was able to accept it like a child would accept what you tell them. And because I accept it like that, I've been able to live it like that. And that's my blessing. From brothers showing me the love. Now I see the hate and I see the other stuff, but the most important thing is I see the love that the brothers have for Allah. And it was easy for me to accept the Father being Allah, because I didn't know what Allah was. So to me, he said he was Allah, it was like a brother saying, my name is Junebug. Or it was like Bishop telling me his name is Junebug. So I said, well, that's who he said he is, I accept it. Now, in the process of growing and learning, you begin to realize that now he's talking about something even much greater than you imagine in yourself. But the Father's equality was about us being greater than him. Not about us being less than him, but about us being greater than him. Because if we're not going to be greater than, every father wants his son to be greater than him. Every parent wants their child to go further than they did in every way possible. That's a natural love that you have for your child. Now, the most important thing about that love is that it's unconditional. It don't have no condition. And for me, today is a great day to be here amongst the family, amongst the God, earth, and babies, especially babies, because today is my young earth's 21st birthday. And the first thing I was able to do this morning, her name is Gestation. I was able to call her up and build with her about the 21st letter in the alphabet told her, I said, you are universal. You are not limited. That's the first. I said, let's get this straight. Today is you 21. Even though it's the truth, you are universal. You're a universal being because you come from a universal reality. Don't let people confine you to little small niches and ditches and other stuff. Because the Father looked at us as universal. He didn't look at us as just being from Harlem or being from Brooklyn or being from Staten Island or being from the Bronx. He said this is going to be universal. So in the process of building with my young earth this morning for physical, it was a blessing for her and for me to be able to see the truth as we see it today because of what Almighty God revealed to me over 40 years ago, like the God said. And the God said he was with us from 64 to 65, but in reality, he was in Matterhorn. So we didn't even get the full benefit of his presence amongst us in the street. So a lot of us miss certain contacts and opportunities we could have had. But today, our babies have, and our children and our women have the full opportunity. Because there's literature, here we go, there's literature about this nation, there's a Facebook, there's a notebook, there's an email, and to show you how powerful this is, and I want to say this to people, is that a whole revolution was accomplished in Egypt through the technology. So we got to communicate on every level because our children are very visual. They are visual children. They really don't go for black and white. A baby really don't like this. For two reasons. It's black and white and it ain't moving. A baby's going to go for color, sound, and animation. So when we present this to the children, we can't present it to them the way we got it. We got to present it to them the way that they will take it in quickly. And on that note, I'm going to say this. This is the truth or square, knowledge, yeah. I said I'm going to prescribe for myself, but prescribed laws got to be applied to you first. I'm going to prescribe for myself this year that the only thing I'm going to deal with is the truth, and anything I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do, regardless to whom or what. And if I do that, that's going to make me totally free from anybody else's emotional, sociological, psychological illness. My mind is going to be free, and I'm going to live out the will of my Father to the best of my ability, regardless to whom or what. And that's when we do the most for our nation. When we're not restricted, confined, controlled, or manipulated by other people inordinate or disturbed, qualities and characteristics, because the Father was free. He was free. That's what gave him the power. And we say, when you get the drop bombs on the mentally dead, Islam will keep you properly fed. And to the four devils, yo, I'm chopping your head.